Hey everybody, what's up? This is the first of 5 matches against Fydor. He's made a video of his side of the matches, and now I get to make a video showing my side, and not really my proudest moment. I don't think I played the best in these matches, but never mind, let's get on with it. Alright, so the first hand, he min raises, and I've got Jack, so obviously I'm going to 3-bet that, and he folds. And I just limp to see what he's going to do here. He doesn't attack my limp, and I haven't played Fydor before, but I think he's most likely a tight aggressive player, which is what I think most decent regs are. Alright, so just stab the flop here in position, and that takes it down. And he min raises again, and I flat this. I'm going to obviously call his min raise as wide as I always do. And he c-bets, and let's let this one go. Alright, so he's still limping, and he's still letting me limp, which is good. And once again repeating of the earlier hand, where I stab and take it down. And calling wide, horrible flop for me, and can't do much there. Very wet flop, can't really attack that. And here I try a raise to see what happens, and he folds. So he's looking pretty tight so far. Alright, 1 gap suited connectors, try a little raise, so 3-bet, and that works out okay. And I'm going to try min raising now and see how he deals with it. And he folds. So people that fold against min raises, I generally min raise pretty frequently against. And here I decide to check raise him on a fairly dry flop, and he calls, and then I basically give up and he takes it down. Not too I try to move, didn't work, it's okay. Alright, min raise and getting a fold, so I'll be doing that and flatting this, and I think this is an interesting spot. I decide to float this because I don't think that he's going to be hitting this dry board very often. Perhaps a check raise would have worked better. And now when he fires a second barrel, I mean, the king could be in his range. He could be just pushing me around because he knows I'm going to float him on a dry board as well. So I'll have to give it up, and that's a little bit annoying, but never mind. Alright, min raise, and he 3-bets me for the first time. So obviously let that go. And I'll do the same. And I'm hoping just because he's 3-bet me that he'll think that I don't have a hand here. But he just folds it up, disciplined. And raising pretty much now close to 100%. Call wide here, and once again can't hit. And he seems to attack the low and high flops, but I haven't had any success pushing him around, so just let it go. Alright, min raise here, get 3-bet. Second 3-bet in a relatively short space of time. I'm going to call it an a6, and I think this is a pretty good flop. He bets, there's 580 chips here. If I call, that's going to be 800 chips in the pot. I can't really call leaving half my stack behind. I think it's a fold or shove situation, and dry enough flop with only the king, which is realistically in his range. A lot of fold equity if I shove, so I'm going to shove this, and he lets it go. So in the lead, good, and he folds this one up, and lets me get away with the min raise there. Call this, cannot hit a flop to save my life, and just have to keep on calling and folding, which sucks. And he's folding as well. Here he min raises, and I let my 7-2 offsuit go, which is no surprise. Alright, and this is the hand which really I stuff up majorly. So here I fit middle pair on a dry flop, and I decide to check raise him and get called. I think the king is a good card. It's going to reduce the chances of him having a king, so I fire a second barrel here, and he calls me again, which is ugly. And now I check, and he shoves the river. Obviously I need to fold this. I can't beat a 5 if he's got anything like an ace 5 or something like that. I can't beat a pocket pair between kings and a 5, and obviously I can't beat a king. But with all this caffeine that I have in my system playing this match late at night, that's my excuse. I decide to call, and bang, what an idiot I am. and that's going to be the end of this match pretty much. Shove my ace-2, and then shove a7, limp, and then shove a7, and he's got kings. Nicely played, sir. What a goose I am. So that's the end of the first match, and not my proudest moment, but we'll have a look at the second one after this. Okay, so this is the second match, and I've lost the first one. Not very clever of me. Let's see how we go in this one. And as I say, a lot of caffeine in my system. I was being a little aggressive. Didn't work out too well for me, but we'll see how it goes here. Min raising, nice. So a few good things are happening, like the min raises are working. I've just got to not spew off all my chips. And he's folding to them, so I do that all day. And calls me here, and fires. And I think Fydor plays mainly on PokerStars, and PokerStars players seem to bet the flop when they hit it a lot more than full tilt players. I know it's a weird thing to say, but I have noticed that over quite a few games that I've been watching, so I'm going to let that go. And fold my a2, getting conservative in my old age. 3-bets me, and obviously I'll let Jack-4 go. And another paired board. This time, instead of floating with my ace high, I try and 3-bet him, and he 4-bets me, and I have to let it go. So, really bad timing. Not sure if he made a move or not, but if he did, well done. Alright, and folds my 4s, and here I can bet and take it down, and I try a 3-bet, and that works. So all the stuff that I would normally do against tight aggressive guys are sort of working out reasonably well. Just spewing my chips away doesn't work out well when I've got sort of second pair. And miss another flop. It would be nice to hit a flop, but I haven't done it yet, apart from the hand that I lost. And 3-bet me again. He's getting a little aggressive with his 3-bets here, which is probably why. Alright, here, this is an interesting hand. Okay, so he's 3-bet me. A lot of his 3-bet range I would assume would be ace-queen and ace-king, and I'm probably dominated, but I've got the straight draw in a pair. It's really hard to fold. So I flat it, and when he fires this barrel, I probably need to fold the hand. This is not good. And I decide to flat, and of course the 10 on the river is just the absolute worst card in the world, and then he shoves and I have to fold. I don't know, I mean, should I be flatting this? It's tough. I mean, I've got a draw and mid-pair. At the time I thought it was a horrible play. In hindsight it's probably still fairly horrible, but I'm not sure. It's not an easy decision. When he fires that second barrel, possibly I should fold. I'm not sure. I'd be interested to see his video, see what he had there. If it was ace-king or ace-queen, then I'm going to feel pretty bad, but you know. Alright, raising, and I'm pretty low here. And bet this one on the turn, take it down. The reason I didn't bet the flop, I just felt that a queen or jack is likely to hit his range. I didn't take into account the fact that he did not donk out, which I probably should have. I probably should have bet the flop. Right, a little low to be calling so wide, and should be folding. Here I make a move, and once again it doesn't work. It's amazing how poorly these have worked. Maybe he's just completely outplaying me in these spots, but you know, it kind of feels like he's got it every time, so we'll be interested to see what's going on there. Alright, so I'm pretty low here, and can't really call this on my gut shot. Queens, limp it in case he wants to attack my limp, and this is a good flop for me, and unfortunately he folds. It's a problem with tight players, and obviously I'll get it in with ace-5, and ace-king, he gets it in, and unfortunately, even though I was a reasonable favourite on the flop, I'm drawing dead on the turn, so a little luck for him. Really, I think the interesting spots are the paired boards where I suspect he might be really outplaying me, or running like Jesus. We'll find out. So, lost the first 2 matches. Not very impressive, but don't you worry, we'll come back. Okay, so the third match, and I've lost the first 2 in pretty unimpressive fashion. So let's see what happens here. I'm pretty competitive. There's no way I want to get beaten 5-0 or something, and if possible I want to win the next 3. So let's see how it goes. Min raise, deep, call, and interesting that he doesn't bet this. He turns out to have 3-3, so he took a pretty conservative line here, and my 10-2 is no good. Alright, min raise him, 3 bets me, getting a little aggressive, but that's fine. And call and fold. Nothing good. I really haven't hit many decent hands so far, but I haven't been my normal patient self either. I mean, we should still really be playing the first match if I was not playing like a complete tool. Alright, and he folds my 5-4. Min raise this and he folds, and this is an interesting hand. Like, he min raises a flat king queen suited, trying to be a little trappy here, and this looks like a good flop for me. And he bets. I'm going to raise him straight away. Top pair, second best kicker, and I've been very, very aggressive check raising him on dry flops and stuff, so I think that he could make a move. When he flats it, not sure what he's got. I'm thinking, I've got no real idea. I'm just going to check here and try and get the chips in if he bets, and I think this is a pretty standard spot. I mean, top pair, and second best kicker, I'm trying to get it in, and he's happy to oblige. He's flopped bottom 2, and that's a bit unlucky, but luckily for me I catch the river. I'm not really worried about how I played that hand. I think you've got to go with top pair on a fairly dry board, and I sucked out. I had a little luck. He had some luck before on sort of ace-3 versus ace-king and stuff, so it's the way it goes. Alright, fold 7-9, and I'll get king 10 in, obviously, and hold. So back into it. It's now 2 for him and 1 for me, and yeah, I think now that I've won a match I can finally settle down and start playing some decent poker, and I think I've just been a little bit too aggressive. That would be the main problem so far. Not really many interesting spots from me because I haven't hit many hands, and that's the way it goes. So anyway, the 4th match, and they've been very, very quick matches, probably because I've been a little aggressive, and this one is no exception. The one thing I can say is I've got a very spewy image at this stage, I would think. And anyway, 2-1 to him. Let's see how it goes. 3 bet on junk, and he folds. All good. Not going to limp that so he can, not going to raise that so he can 3 bet me back. And call, completely miss, and that's a terrible card for me, which I'll give up. And raise, get 3 bet, and I'm just going to shove it. What I'm thinking here is I have a really, really spewy image, and hopefully I could get called by ace 10 or ace 9. Fydor thinks for a while here, and eventually calls on 10s. I think, considering the way I've played, I would have snapped 10s instantly. I wouldn't even think about it. I don't think it's even close. But anyway, this is going to be 2 games apiece when my 10 is better than his 7 there. So not very long games, but the last one goes a little bit longer, and now we've kind of found our groove. We can play a little more poker in that one. So here it is, the 5th and final match, and the stage is set, 2 games apiece. He's got a little lucky, I got a little lucky. I've played like a bit of a goose, but now I've settled down, and it's time to grind out this and see if I can win the 5th match. There's pride plus $5 on the line, and there's no way I'm letting either of those go. So limping here, and not a great flop for 2-2. Let it go. King 5, and he folds. Nice. Min raise my 3s, mixing stuff up, and he folds. Probably should have min raised my 2s, that would have worked better. And he folds some ace 9, and limping it again, going back to my sort of traditional style and mixing things up. Have a little stab, and that works. And call. Of course I'm calling all of his min raises. He's got a huge draw here. Got an open ender, and a straight and a flush draw and 2 overcards. I think I'm going to try and get it in here. And oh god, he 3-bets me. I'm just going to have to shove. This is actually a fascinating spot. I mean, he's got the bottom pair and gut shot and flush draw. I don't think you can fault either one of us for getting it in here. And he hits on the turn, and we split the pot, which is pretty anticlimactic. But I think it's a pretty standard spot to get it in for both of us. Alright, Ace 10. Alright. And this is an interesting flop. I'm just going to check behind because I think it will hit his calling range a lot. Got a lot of draws here. I'm not going to make a big pot, and now that he bets, I'll give it up. You know, I mean, King, Jacks and 9s have got to be in his calling range. And I'm not going to get too excited with my gut shot. Alright, keep raising, trying to take free chips, but he doesn't let me. So we'll give that up. And I have called a lot of his min raises and hit almost no flops. It's just been pretty dry for me, so I let this one go. And he donks out. Not sure. I mean, as I say, my read is that stars people do this when they're strong, so I call it and then bet the turn and check behind, and yeah, he actually had the ace, so I had the right read. I tried to push him off on the turn, and that didn't work out too well. I mean, the reason I called it is, you know, my gut shot plus the fact that he might be FOS. I just thought I'd try and float him, but yeah, just as I thought, he's betting out strong. So I had the right read, just didn't act on it. Decided to 3-bet him with ace queen, pretty standard. And the 2s, bets out again, can't hit a flop, nice. I honestly feel like I've barely hit a flop in the 4 games, apart from the king-queen hand and the one I didn't want to hit. This I'm going to bet here. He hasn't bet the flop, and if he's got a draw, I'm going to make him pay for it, and he folds it. Alright, raising, and he 3-bets me. Pretty aggressive 3-betting, kind of like what I'm doing to him, and that's fine. And I've called his min raises all day long, never hit anything, and finally I hit. So this is an interesting spot. He bets as he always has, and I decide to raise him, even though I'm sitting here with what looks like the stone cold nuts. The reason for that is I've been very, very aggressive, and he's been very aggressive on paired boards. And he decides to re-raise me, which I'm going to flat. I mean, you know, I think it's time to not to get too pushy there. He checks the turn, and now I bet the river. Pretty big bet size. Not sure what he's got, but I want to get value for a 9 or any other hand, and he's actually got pocket queens, so either he made a very good read and knew I was strong, which I think is pretty hard considering the fact that I've check raised him on so many dry boards. Like how that didn't go in on the flop, considering the game flow, is pretty amazing. But finally, my calling any 2 cards, the min raise is paid off. Alright, raise, and he folds again, and I fold my 7-2, of course, and I keep on calling and missing, but this time when I check raise him, I get some respect. So what I should have done was hit, check raise, get some respect, and, you know, not sort of try and put too many moves on too early. It was a good board to check raise, it was a dry board. Alright, min raising, and as is often the case against these tight aggressive guys, I raise, he folds, and he raises, and I call. You know, a lot of people would be folding to these min raises. Alright, I can c-bet this board, represent the king or the 9, which I do, and he calls it. Now I've got a draw, but I've missed it, and I kind of feel like I've missed a lot of boards. This, I can't really bluff. I think he's going to snap call me with a 9 or a king, which I think is what he's likely to have here. And yeah, he had the 9. I figured I've actually put him on a 9, and I figured I had no sort of fold equity there. Alright, calling, hitting, just going to flat this, and now that he hasn't bet, I'll bet the river to make sure he doesn't bluff me, and he folds, so things are going a little better in this match. 3 bets me very aggressively, and I don't 3 bet him very aggressively and just give up. I don't want to sort of 3 bet him straight after he's 3 bet me. Alright, and if in doubt, C bet. That works, he folds. So 2 matches each, and I've got the lead here. I'm probably a little fortunate to have sucked out in one of the matches, but on the other hand I could have doubled up the ace king versus ace 3, so it all works out in the end. And if I had played half decent, God knows what would have happened. Alright, miss the flop and give it up. I notice he's changed his C bet size now that he's a little shorter. And keep on raising, he's getting a little tight here. Pocket nines this deep, I'm just going to shove, hoping to get called by an ace X. I mean, he called ace X when I had 500 chips. He probably should do the same when he's got this amount of chips, and he folds. And he's tightening up a little bit here. I decide to not play my 5-10. He's really tightened up. I should be sort of a little more aggressive, I guess. And call this one. Guess what? Miss the flop again and give it up. And he shoves over my king 7. Not going to call this, of course. And I shove over his min raise just to return the favour. And grinding him down. 545 chips. Longest match so far. Save the best for last. Here I shove a6. I think it's not a terrible shove. He's got like, what is it, like 13 big blinds or something. A6 suited's okay. And he calls an ace 9. And he's got a flush draw. And the board pairs. I'm in a lot of trouble. And we split it, which is pretty lucky, I have to admit. I had the luck there. Had the rub of the green. Alright, gonna fold my 9-3 because they're a bit short. And he shoves over my 10-9. Nice aggressive endgame from him. I would have shoved my 3s if he raised 2. And I'm folding, just trying to catch a big hand. Alright, and he raises. I flat it, and this is an interesting spot. I should have a lot of fold equity here. And also, I've got, obviously, if he's got a 9, for example, I've got the 10, which gives me 3 outs, plus the 6 and a jack, so, 11 outs, plus fold equity. I think I can shove this. And he snaps me off on a 9, and I can't get there. Pretty reasonable from both sides, I think. And that's a little bit of luck back for him. Sort of his hand holding where it was fairly precarious. Alright, and 3 bet him and get the fold. Got to keep those 3 bets pretty regular against a tight aggressive guy, as he's doing to me. And here I limp because I don't want him to 3 bet me back. And I've hit top pair. How much trouble can I get into? None, thank you. It's nice to hit a flop. And just give this one up. I've tried outplaying him, hasn't worked. So I'm just going to try and not do anything stupid and see how that works. Alright, he's being pretty aggressive with his 3 bets just as I am, and then folding. I'll just keep on raising him. He's not attacking me so much that I should stop raising, so I'll just keep it up. And I'm going to raise pretty close to 100%. Another 3 bet from him, but I still think it's profitable. And miss the flop again and give it up. And the lead's kind of dwindling, but it's all good. And decide to fold this one. Pretty worthless hand. He 3 bets me again, and here we've got ace queen. I 3 bet him, he calls, and that's a pretty good flop for ace queen, you would think. 250 my bet size, trying to induce from him, like I'm not betting 350 or something. And he shoves, and he's got king queen, so that's a bit of a caller for him. And my ace holds. So that's the end of the 5 matches. They were pretty quick. I played like a bit of a spew monkey early on, but probably had the better luck, and called it in with jacks versus 10s, and now ace queen versus king queen. So if you can't outplay someone, it's always better to call them. And it's kind of a fun few matches, but what you can get out of it, I'm not so sure. I mean, basically, Fydor seems to be a fairly tight aggressive guy who was 3-betting me a little wide and was quite aggressive on paired boards. But apart from that, just a good tight aggressive player, and I've done a couple of videos against tight aggressive players, so it was the same stuff, but still an enjoyable few matches. So until the next one, I hope you take care and run good.